Hello, I'm reviewing today for you the Holman Christian Standard Minister's Bible, HCSB. This is released in 2010, so as of right now it's 8 years old, and in fact there is a Christian Standard Bible, which is a revised translation of the Holman Christian Standard, and they already have I believe it's called a Pastor's Bible. I personally prefer the HCSB over the CSB, but that's a different video. So for this one though, you can get right now, this one is black simulated leather, single column, wide margin, and a lifetime guarantee. You can get this very same edition on cbd.com or christianbook.com, either one will work, for $19.99. Now, if you want genuine leather, that's $45. But just to give you an idea, this is what it looks like on the back. There's the different features it has. Lots of good articles. I'll show you as we go through them. But if you just wanted to take a look at it right now. So I'll show you. You're going to have to excuse. I had CBD put my name on this. So you're going to have to excuse that. But I will show you. So a very good simulated leather. Interesting pattern around the border. Now, I will let you know I've had this for a few weeks now. I've barely touched it, but it did come a little bit scuffed up and whatnot like this. No, I shouldn't say scuffed, but you can tell handprints have been over it, and I'm guessing that's necessary to get my name on there. So that's what it says there on the side. Now let's look in the middle of this. Now the pages, even it's kind of there's no really gilding edges, but they do stick together a little bit whenever you first get it. So here's the ISBN numbers if you don't want to buy it from CBD. Table of contents. And then here's a list again of the additional materials. Now, if you are used to study Bibles, the Minister's Bible is different in that the primary passages are built for preaching, so really nice. And perhaps even if you're not a pastor or minister, you'll want to get it just for this reason. Single column, wide margin, so great for preaching. Now it does have the footnotes at the bottom, but there is no cross-references. Again, this is just built entirely for preaching, so hopefully you pastors have done your cross-referencing studying before you're up on Sunday preaching. This is not a red letter edition. So here's Luke. Here's Luke's recorded of the Olivet Discourse. See here some other features. It has 2 bookmarks, ribbons. So, maybe for example, at our church, we read through a psalm every Sunday, so I could have one for the psalm that we're in, and then maybe one for my preaching passage. There is no introductions. It's just a book title, and then it goes straight into the book of the Bible. Let's look at a few of the articles in the back. So, like all HCSB Bibles, it has bullet notes. So that's the first thing you see after Revelation is the bullet notes. If you're unfamiliar with the HCSB bullet notes, basically you will see a word within the Bible somewhere. Here's an example they give is abyss. See that little dot right before abyss? That's a bullet. And then whenever you see that anywhere in the text of the Bible, it corresponds with an entry back here and it explains what it is. So these are for the harder, maybe harder words, especially for those people who haven't been around churches all their life and don't know what some of those words mean, some of the harder words. So after the bullet notes, though, we don't hit the articles yet. There's a table of weight and measures. You're going to have to excuse the radio in the background. It's fire season here. Then, pastoral care. Now, I have this same list. It's called I have the same list in another HCSB of mine, a where to turn place. They call this pastoral care, but I think it's the same list. It says where to turn when you are feeling blue, when you're tempted to do wrong, when you face physical danger, etc. And there's quite a few of these passages that they point you to. And I mentioned this in another video of another HCSB I was reviewing. And that is, these are all pretty exegetically accurate, so there's not going to be any where to turn to get the pickle jar opened and it takes you to Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So it's not doing anything like that. Now we head into the articles. Let me just read them off to you, the names of the articles. This is 8 Traits of Effective Church Leaders by Tom S. Rainer. Now again, this is all in the very back of this minister's Bible. 21 Essentials of Authentic Ministry. Gives you a classic wedding ceremony outline. Basically, you can even just fill in the blanks. Now, if you actually do this, let's just say that I'm a pastor and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't feel right. But hey, if you feel right doing that, that's fine. But you can even fill in the blanks. So it gives you a wedding ceremony. Gives you a classic and a contemporary wedding ceremony. Gives you funeral preparation, so an article of tips on what to do. You know what to do when receiving notification of death, what to do when you are visiting in the home, when scheduling the service or doing a funeral home visit, or what to do during the service, or how to conclude, what to do at graveside. Gives you an example of a funeral sermon, example of a funeral for a child, funeral for a student, which one of my youth group students passed away, funeral for a suicide victim, 4 kinds, and then the next is 4 kinds of expositional preaching by Ed Stetzer. He talks about verse by verse preaching. He talks about thematic expository for doctrinal preaching. Let's see here. The other 2, narrative expository preaching and topical expository preaching. Then here's an article on 30 keys to giving an invitation. And then commitment counseling. So in other words, whenever you commit to Christ, what salvation looks like, etc. That's a few pages long. Talks about rededication as well, or commitment to vocational Christian ministry. Here's how to lead a child to Christ, an article on that. ABCs of becoming a Christian: admit to God that you're a sinner, believe in Jesus Christ and His Son for forgiveness, and confess your faith in Jesus. ABC, reaching students with the gospel, another article. 2 Things We Really Must Do, the Importance of Baptism and Communion by Rick White. The Christian Year and the Church Calendar. So just an idea of special days each month. Easter Sundays. This book was produced in 2010, but it gives you what Easter Sunday is all the way up till 2025. If you, for whatever reason, lack a calendar, or if you are in this Bible and want a quick glance at where Easter is. The apostles and their history. So it gives you a little bit about the apostles and their history. I haven't seen this in any other HCSB before, so very interesting. Sometimes it'll give you some of the writings they're in. A concordance of the Holman Christian Standard Bible. So every which one has this. Just a regular concordance. You know, a word, maybe you're thinking of a verse or about someone or something, and you look in the back, it gives you a brief list of that verse and where to find it. So there's that concordance. Then, after that, it's the maps that all Holman Christian Standard Bibles have. You have the migration of Abraham, the route of the Exodus, tribal allotments of Israel, kingdoms of Israel and Judah, Palestine in the time of Jesus, the ministry of Jesus around the Sea of Galilee, a very interesting 3D map that Holman Christian Standard Bibles have, and I think other Bibles have as well. And then that's the end of that. So I can't wait to use this on Sundays. I'm switching over from the ESV to the HCSB. I might do a video later on as to why I prefer the HCSB over their new CSB. But if you're just even very slightly interested in the HCSB, if you don't get this one because you're not a pastor, I would highly recommend to get any version of the HCSB because I believe they're going to be phased out. And CBD, ChristianBookDistributor.com, is having plenty of blowout sales to where they're very, very cheap for good quality Bibles. So thanks for listening. I'll hope to catch up again with you later.